Hi ladies, Karen's just asked me to put together a quick guide and a reminder really of what to do if you are asked to run the COVID table and to help out with the registration and entry process on your training evenings. And I'd just like to say, as the club's COVID officer, thank you for taking the time to help with this really. I think the coaches are under quite a bit of extra pressure in terms of all of the COVID rules that they now have to follow. So where people are helping out, it is very helpful, and as a club we really appreciate it, so thank you for that. So yeah, in terms of what to have on the table, all of these things can be found within the blue COVID bag. So there'll be a copy of Karen's registers normally attached to her clipboard and her money pots. And you'll also find in there a laminate of the QR code for the club using the Van Dijk's courts. The thermometer will be in there, and then another laminate containing the COVID symptoms checker with the red and green coloured boxes on there, and then some hand gel. So largely the entry procedure, you would have all experienced it at the first training session, but it's obviously very different if you're on the receiving end of it. Just make sure, if it does get quite busy, just make sure people are keeping their social distance whilst in the queue, and when it's their turn to come up to the table, get them to scan the QR code using the NHS app. Whilst they're doing this, you can then use the thermometer to check their temperature. I usually go for forehead, but I know other COVID officers and coaches choose to use the wrists, so whichever one you feel comfortable with. And then remind them to sanitise their hands as well. You're going to be using Karen's registers for her purposes too, and it's important. There were a few people at the first training session that didn't have the NHS app, so just perhaps make a note of who those people are, because then we'll be resorting back to paper track and chase if anybody does develop symptoms. And then you'll need to remind people to put money in the pot. Ideally try not to handle the money yourself, so just encourage people to put money into the pot, and if they're due change they can forage in and take that out themselves really. And then the other thing is to not forget to do all of this procedure for yourself. So when I'm running it on a Wednesday night, I tend to get somebody to take my temperature, or I'll take my own temperature, and don't forget to clock yourselves in throughout all of this, because obviously that's important too. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, good luck, and thank you once again for helping out.